were critically injured, and do you have an update on their condition?
I spoke to the family of one of them, and the other left a detailed message, and I'm not going to get into their status. That'll be shared by the Pennsylvania State Police and or the family later today.
Were you asking for flags to be put in past staff across the state, and also knowing that this is going to be really contentious, even more so, battleground state for the rest of your message?
I just missed the last part of what she said.
No problem. The first was about the flags. The second, knowing that this is going to be even more contentious now in the state of Pennsylvania, and that we're divided here. What is your message to people who live here?
I have directed that flags be flown at half-staff in Corey's memory, and our chief of staff is working through that process now. My message to all Pennsylvanians, my message to all Americans is to be firm in your beliefs, to believe what you believe, to advocate for what you believe, and to be engaged in the political and civic process, but to always do so peacefully. To remember that while we may be Democrats or Republicans, above all else, we are Americans. And if you look at the story of this great nation over the last 248 years, a nation that was born right here in Pennsylvania, it's been ordinary Americans at every single step of the way, rising up, demanding more, seeking justice, advocating for change, and doing so peacefully. And those who have advocated for such change peacefully, they have been the ones to bring that about. We have to remember that even in these times where there are real divisions, that we have to address those divisions through engagement in the political and civic process in a peaceful manner. That is incumbent leaders of all parties, and it is incumbent upon the public. I will tell you that notwithstanding the tragedy that we saw last night here in Butler, the awful tragedy, that every day when I'm around Pennsylvania, I see the very best in Pennsylvanians. People who do have fervent beliefs, people who do have passionate beliefs, but who engage in a peaceful manner, and who love their neighbors, and who engage with people in their communities, even those that they might have differences from. We need to learn from our history in this Commonwealth and in this country, and we need to bring our better angels forward and carry that forward into this political season. I'll take one more. Yes.
Can you expand on the situation of Mr. Montgomery's passing? Was he standing behind President Trump? You said he dove in front of his family. Is there any more detail you can provide?
His wife shared with me that he dove on his family to protect them. As for any other information, that will be shared by law enforcement. Thank you all very much.
Governor Johnson.
All right. Hi, everyone. I told you I'd be back after church. So I got an alert on my phone that there was an update. And so I said I would just come on. So let's see what he's saying.
From bullet wounds, describing him as a girl dad, father of two girls, we believe. His name is Corey Compertor, according to the governor there just moments ago. He said he spoke with Corey's wife, who gave the governor permission to share with the country that her husband, a firefighter, died. She said, as a hero, he jumped on family members in the middle of that madness as it was playing out at the rally. Wow. I want to bring in our team members for some important questions, just to bring you up to date at home. Let's bring in our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, who is right there at the scene of the press conference. I know, Aaron, you asked moments ago about this fast-moving investigation, whether or not the governor would weigh in on what might have been discovered inside the suspect's car. And again, this is all moving very quickly. Let's bring our audience up to speed on what we know about the shooter.
We know the shooter was a 20-year-old local person from here in Western Pennsylvania, David, and he was killed by a U.S. Secret Service sharpshooter, and that was after he was able to fire off about 8 rounds from an AR-style rifle from an elevated position, which in and of itself is concerning. There were some critical images captured by Doug Mills of the New York Times, the first of which appears to show a projectile passing by former President Trump, followed by a second image by Doug Mills of the New York Times, in which the former president appears to touch his ear and then you see in a third image blood on the former president's hand. These are images among hundreds of others that law enforcement officials are now studying as they now try to find a motive for why this shooter did what he did. So far, David, we're told there has been no obvious motive either through social media, but they're still going through it, including a Discord account, although that hasn't been terribly revealing from what law enforcement officials tell us. And David, here you heard the governor try to address the people of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who are rightly shocked, he said, by what occurred in their state. He said political disagreements can never be addressed with violence, but that's exactly what happened here on Saturday evening, David.
In fact, we heard the governor there tell not only the people of Pennsylvania, given the outsized role that state plays in really all presidential elections and will again come this November, to advocate for what you believe in, but to do it peacefully. He encouraged all Americans to abide by that principle. You were talking about the suspect there moments ago. Really extraordinary images from the New York Times, for many very difficult to look at, as you can actually see the bullet coming in. And it's a lot of people, Aaron, in looking at that, know the video they saw from less than 24 hours ago, that it was the former president's right ear, and yet it looks like it's coming in from that side. So give us an idea of the relationship from where this suspect was. And again, he was outside the security perimeter, but remarkably close to this rally. And then part of the major questions going forward, how he was able to get on that rooftop with the Secret Service and state police tasked with securing that political rally.
And that rooftop, we're told, was searched and secure. So there is a nagging question about why that elevated position was available to this young man to fire off these rounds from the AR-style rifle. And the images are even possible because the photographers are brought up close in Trump's political rallies. So they were right there near the former president. It appears he was shot from less than 200 yards away. Our team has taken a look at some of the images and also the rooftop from where we believe the shooter was perched. And it appears to be about 130 yards away. So it was far too close for comfort. The Secret Service often has responsibility for the immediate vicinity around their protectee. Sometimes locations outside the security perimeter are outsourced to state and local law enforcement partners. The governor was asked here whether the Pennsylvania State Police bore any responsibility. The governor did not really entertain the question. He said that's going to be part of the investigation, and law enforcement is certainly asking, David.
We're looking at aerials now of those rooftops in question. And Aaron, just to underscore what you said there moments ago, that there had been a sweep at one point before the rally of that particular location.
That's what law enforcement officials are telling us, David, that they saw the rooftop, they knew its proximity, it had been swept or believed to have been secured, and law enforcement is now asking eyewitnesses to come forward, some of whom have been saying they saw the shooter with a gun, called out for help, and the U.S. Secret Service sharpshooter was able to take him out, but just seconds too late because he was already able to fire off those 8 rounds, which killed one Pennsylvania man, injured 2 others critically. And you heard the governor describe this man, Corey Comprator, who leaves behind a wife and 2 daughters. The governor says that his wife said he dove on top of the family to try and protect them.
Aaron, you also showed our viewers the image there of the suspect just moments ago. This is believed to be an image from high school graduation of Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was 20, of course, now dead, taken down by the Secret Service.
He was shot by the U.S. Secret Service. He was 20 years old, from here in Western Pennsylvania. And we've started to speak with those who graduated high school with him and who have not been terribly revealing about his character. Some said he was just normal. Some said he was a little lonely. Some said he was into computers. Some said he tried to join a rifle club. But there's no clear picture of who this young man was in his community that gives us any indication or predicate for why this may have occurred. And that's a nagging question for law enforcement at this hour, David. They've been scouring social media. We know they've talked to relatives. He has a sister, he has parents that the law enforcement is talking to. But so far, David, we still don't know why he did this.
And we understand, Aaron, that there was an AR-style weapon that was purchased legally.
A high-powered rifle purchased by his father, we're told. The authorities have been able to trace the bullets and the gun, and the gun purchase comes back to the suspect's father. We don't know the exact year. That hasn't been made public yet, but it does appear on its face to be a legal purchase. The authorities will certainly want to ask the father a little bit more about that gun, but it is the weapon of choice for many mass shootings, and because assuming the former president was in fact hit by a bullet, as he says he was, grazed in the ear, this would qualify as a mass shooting, 4 or more people shot. And so in addition to the nation's political violence, it's emblematic of another problem the U.S. faces, and that's chronic gun violence.
Aaron, we should mention the images we have on the screen now are apparently of a commercial that was shot during his high school years. The suspect, of course, as Aaron pointed out there, many questions and the investigation fast moving into his history. As Aaron just again reported, this was a high-powered AR-style weapon purchased legally, believed by the father or in the father's name some time ago. And of course, those are all facts that will be very closely scrutinized as we hear from law enforcement throughout the day. The governor there, Josh Shapiro, moments ago saying we will hear from law enforcement at some point here this afternoon with likely significant updates here. I want to bring in our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, because we have learned moments ago that President Biden will again address the nation, Mary.
David, we are told he will come before cameras again at 1:30, so in about an hour, 45 minutes from now, we expect to hear from the president. This comes after he spent the morning here at the White House in the Situation Room, being briefed by his Homeland Security team and other law enforcement officials. This will, though, be the first time that we've heard from the president since those brief remarks that he gave last night, shortly after this assassination attempt. And then, of course, the president issued a real forceful condemnation of this attack, saying that there is no place in this country for this kind of political violence. He said it is sick, and he called for the country to come together and try to unite. Of course, we know, though, that this comes at a point when this country is deeply, deeply divided. The president, though, trying to lower the political temperature. Shortly after that, late last night, the president did finally connect with Donald Trump, the two of them speaking on the phone in a call that's been described to me as good, respectful, but short. The president, first and foremost, is responding to this moment as president, but there are certainly lots of questions about how this will impact his campaign, how this will simply impact his travel in the upcoming days. We do now know that the vice president, who had an abortion event planned, a campaign event planned for Tuesday in Palm Beach County. Of course, that's Donald Trump's backyard. That has now been postponed. The president is supposed to be traveling tomorrow to Texas, then on to Nevada on Tuesday and Wednesday. Lots of questions still unanswered here, David, about how his schedule may change as well and how it will impact his campaign.
Certainly a dark new turn in what was already a deeply polarized campaign leading up to November. And Mary, you heard the governor there speak at this phone call that you just reported on. The country actually saw in that first debate both of these candidates coming out on the stage and not even shaking hands. Certainly after last night, the governor said this moments ago, Josh Shapiro, that the president told him that he did intend to talk to former President Donald Trump, that was his plan, continued to work into the night until that happened. And as you just reported, short, good, but brief. But what the governor there of Pennsylvania said, that was expected and that was the right thing to do in front of the nation.
And just the fact that they talked is so notable because, as you mentioned, they don't speak. These are not two men who we often ever see have any kind of contact. They rarely interacted, even when they were on the debate stage together. David, that was the first time that they had come face to face or even talked to each other in some 3.5 years. So the fact that the president is trying to reach out to Donald Trump is, again, another sign that he is showing or trying to show the American people that now is not a time for politics. We know that his campaign has really hit the pause button. They've pulled down all of their political communication, pulling their ads off of the airways, trying to really lead and encourage the nation to sort of take a beat here. That even though we are now days away from the Republican National Convention, the president recognizing, what a really not just divisive, but what a tinderbox moment this could be for the country, and trying to just dial everything down, David.
And again, for our audience, Mary, when does the president plan to address the nation?
1:30 p.m., David, here from the Roosevelt Room at the White House. That is the expectation.
All right. You and I will be right here together to bring that to the country as well. Thank you, Mary. I want to bring in Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice Correspondent. Pierre, you saw those images that Aaron had up on the screen there moments ago from Doug Mills at the New York Times. Extraordinarily very specific and detailed images actually showing at least one of those bullets coming right towards the former president. His head was turned in that moment. It grazed, as we now know, his right ear. And of course, we've all seen the video where he then looks at his hand, likely notices the blood on his hand, and then goes down behind the podium to seek cover. This is going to lead to, renewed questions here. There were immediate questions last night, but now nearly 24 hours later about how this young shooter propped on a rooftop nearby was able to get so many shots out before being taken down. Of course, the Secret Service is being thanked and law enforcement on the scene being thanked for their extraordinarily quick response. But as this investigation moves forward, the question now turns to, how on earth did the shooter get that many shots? Shots at all, but that many shots once he started.
Exactly, David. Law enforcement officials are looking at that very issue. We're told that police had gotten information from people in the crowd about some suspicious activity. They were in the process of pursuing, trying to find out about the suspicious activity. They were in the process of hunting for this individual. And my sources are telling me is that the Secret Service sniper who saw this person on top of the roof engaged after it was clear that shots were being fired, that this was an adversary. And we're told by our sources that this counter sniper was able to pinpoint him and then take him out with a shot from his rifle from a distance away. But again, the key here is that, as we reported earlier today, there was a clearing of the building. They thought that it was looked at earlier, that there was no one on top of the roof. But the key thing is somehow at some point that suspect was able to get on top of the roof and then start inching toward being able to make this shot. There was split-second decisions involved. And we're also getting additional information from the FBI, which is leading the investigation, David. They're telling us that, again, this appears to be a lone wolf situation. So far, no specific ties to any organization or any other individual. We're expecting that we will get a briefing from the FBI a bit later today, as they know that the public wants to know as much as they can about motive, whether there was anyone else involved. There's a computer, also a phone that they are trying to exploit. There's misinformation that they believe that this young man was consuming. They're trying to get a better understanding of that. But at present, no clear motive has been uncovered, David.
Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice Correspondent. Pierre, our thanks to you. I want to bring in Rachel Scott, who, of course, was at that rally covering Donald Trump's rally, as she has so often during this campaign when the shots began to ring out there. And Rachel, obviously, we deeply appreciate your reporting these last 24 hours. I want to try to look forward here if we can. Have you heard anything about how security will be different, really on both sides, for the Trump campaign and the Biden campaign, in terms of these obviously very public rallies and on the eve of the Republican National Convention?
Wow.
David, I can tell you that in a memo obtained by ABC News, the Trump campaign laid out to its staff that they want their staff to start avoiding their offices in Washington, D.C. and also West Palm Beach right now, as they continue to heighten up these and beef up these security measures, enhance the security measures at those offices. They also, in that memo, were very direct as we talk about the political rhetoric, the rhetoric on both sides, saying flat out that any violent rhetoric will not be tolerated. That is a strong message from the head of the Trump campaign, the senior advisors of the Trump campaign, directly down to the staff. There are big questions here about security. David, every Trump rally that we go to, I will tell you that we have to pass through magnetometers. Our bags are searched. There are certain restrictions on what you can bring in to those rallies. Frankly, it's one of the places where you probably feel the most secure because you're around law enforcement. You're around Secret Service. You know that the former president of the United States is there. So there are big questions about how exactly that suspected shooter, that suspected gunman, was able to get so close to the former president, less than 200 yards away, where he was able to fire those multiple rounds, David.
And we should mention that the concern leading up to November in these past few months has been a significant, Rachel, really for both campaigns, as far as the rhetoric in this country and the threat of potential political violence. You heard Mary report there that Vice President Kamala Harris, she had been scheduled to campaign in Florida early this week at an abortion rights rally, going to be a leading theme of that speech, and that's now been put on hold. I would gather likely because of security concerns and particularly what we've all witnessed as a nation in these last 24 hours.
Absolutely, David. And if we just even go back to January 6th, this country has been in this heightened state, on guard, as political rhetoric has just intensified on both sides. And we saw it on January 6th. We saw the outcome of that after the former president repeatedly denied that he lost the 2020 election. We saw rioters storm the Capitol. We saw the rhetoric that unfolded after that from Republicans. We know this is something that the Democratic Party is increasingly concerned about heading into this November election as this rematch occurs between former President Donald Trump and President Biden. But this is where it all has come to a head. And I think there is a moment here, and you heard from the governor, Josh Shapiro, there saying political disagreements must be addressed in a civil matter, almost pleading with the nation to take this seriously and lower the temperature. David?
No question, and that has been the call from former presidents across the board who came out saying they were glad to hear that the former president was okay as soon as they got word from the former president himself through social media, and Rachel, of course, from Governor Josh Shapiro moments ago, urging not only the people of Pennsylvania, where you are and have been the last 24 hours, but the people of the country to stick by their political convictions, to advocate for them, but to do so peacefully in this country. Rachel, thank you to you and the crew there on the scene these last 24 hours. Just really tremendous and careful work. Thank you. I want to bring in John Carl. One last question here, because as I mentioned, we are on the eve of the Republican National Convention. And John, there have been so many points along the way, a remarkable split screen of both of these campaigns and this deeply polarized moment in this country. That image moments ago where you saw President Biden inside the Situation Room, Vice President Kamala Harris at his side, learning details of these last 24 hours. There's the image on your screen right now. We know the president is set to address the nation in the next hour or so, about 1:30 Eastern. We will carry it live. You can see the vice president there and his national security team. And you also have former President Donald Trump and the Trump campaign signaling there will be no change. They will move forward with this Republican National Convention.
David, this morning, the former president spoke to the chairman of the host committee here in Milwaukee, Reince Priebus. The message from former President Trump is all systems are go. Do not scale back this convention one bit. He wants to charge ahead. He also described to Reince Priebus the scene that, from his perspective, at that assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, talking about the bullet piercing his ear, going down and being shocked that people didn't simply all run away, and the horror he felt that somebody just to his side who was just sitting there at his rally was shot and killed. But the message about the convention is this convention is going on, and I've got to tell you, this will be a highly energized convention. This will not be a toned down convention. Already you are seeing Republicans across the board, from the president's own family to party leaders, using that image of the bloodied Donald Trump, blood coming down his face, his fist in the air, as the symbol of their campaign, really as the symbol of the convention and of Trump's role in politics. So this convention is going to go forward. The question is what happens with the rhetoric, because you have heard from political figures across the political spectrum, from former President George W. Bush to former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi to the Speaker of the House Republican Mike Johnson, saying we need to tone down the rhetoric, we need to show respect and civility, and that violence has no place in politics. So we'll see what the rhetoric is here in Milwaukee, David.
And we'll be right there with you, John, in Milwaukee all week long. Appreciate it. Appreciate your coverage on this week, this morning. We're going to be back on the air with President Biden as he addresses the nation about 1:30 Eastern, we're being told. As soon as he comes out, we will come back on the.
All right. And so I can stop that because they are ending the newscast there. So just wanted to come on. I told you guys that I would come back on, and for those of you who came in a little late, where are we here? Okay, yeah, I'll just leave that like that. They did, if you can go back to the beginning and see where they actually mentioned the shooter. And now, those of you who've been here on the channel for a while, you know, at one point I lived in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So I think they're saying he's from the western part and he's only 20 years old. That is really sad. And actually, he was a registered Republican, is what they're saying. So I don't know. Of course, they're still saying that the investigation is still ongoing. And so we shall see where we go from here. Remember that
comes right from the government services.
And that's a video that I shared with you yesterday. So I think as soon as we heard what was going on, and that was just before the shooting. Okay. And so just wanted to know what your thoughts were. Rich Buddy, how are you? Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, Rich. JFK, yeah, grassy knoll roof. Yeah. Jax, if you like rap, Tom McDonald put out a new song a few minutes ago you missed. Just email that to me, Jax. A lot of his music is powerful political statements. Okay, good. Andrew was born and raised in Milwaukee. He said liberals destroyed it. Okay. DJ, I hold all them responsible. I do not care what they're saying. And the ladies on The View, MSM, Maxine Waters, Madonna. Okay. DJ, if you've been here for a while, we've been talking about them not wanting to relinquish power. I trust no one. I will not be shocked at anyone if they're able to link this guy to, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but hey, folks, this looks a little shady because we know how evil the Democrats are. Here, Snowflake's nightmare. That was the intent to incite one of their crazies, right, Snowflake? How you doing, Laura? And so we know on this channel, you cannot take things at face value because usually behind the scenes, there's some other things going on, right? And so we have to wait and see. And even with the investigation, folks, we're lied to all the time. Who the heck really knows? We just know what they tell us. We do not know, you know, for a fact, anything. We just know what they share with us. Snowflake's nightmare. SS allowed it. Okay. All right. So, you know, all I'm saying is, folks, we've been saying on this channel for the past few months, you know, now the people who thought that we were a little over the top and thought that we were being a little bit extra, now they see this is a serious situation. We weren't just trying to, you know, spew propaganda. Oh, how it may become dangerous. Now all Americans see. How you doing, Cat Mama? It is very dangerous. And if this doesn't prove it, I don't know what else to say to you. And so, you know, this is where we are as a country, and it's really sad. And I will not be shocked, you know, if they're able to link this to some higher ups in the government. I will not. I'll just be like, okay, what else is new? Nothing can shock me at this point. And I've already spoken to Mr. John Joyner. Remember, he's going to be a guest on the show today at 4. He was going to address the Project 2025 hoax that the Democrats are using, trying to, of course, fearmonger to bring Black Americans back onto the Democratic plantation. So he's going to dispel that. But we decided, in light of recent incidents, that we'll do that maybe next Sunday or Sunday after next. He wants to come on. I've already spoken to him. He's already given me his thoughts and theories about who's really behind this. And so I'll let him share that with you today at 4 o'clock. And those of you who've been on the channel for a while, you already know he comes. He's very transparent. And those of you snowflakes, Andrew, those of you who are on Truth Social, please go ahead and share this out on Truth Social for me. Thank you so much. Snowflake says, I'm just wondering what they will try next. Don't think this is the end. They will never let him back in office. We the people want Snowflakes. That's what I'm saying. This is not the end. They are going to do, if you were here, Snowflakes, check out my videos I did 2 or 3 videos yesterday. Any means necessary, any means. And now the shooter is dead. He can't be questioned. So question everything. Jax, the Democratic Party refused to have Democratic debates. Okay, it didn't really matter. Yeah, so anything is possible. And when you can't question the shooter, okay, we just have to take what they tell us at face value, right? Rich Buddy, I don't want anyone to hate me, but somehow the term anti-Semitic needs to be abolished. It disallows a defense. It was very orchestrated, the creation of this word. There is no other race that had. Well, okay, yeah, Rich Buddy, a lot of people are saying that now, yeah. Snowflakes, I will, honey. You stop being in my logarithm. Been a while since I've seen Snowflakes. Check and make sure that you are still subscribed. I have several subscribers and former subscribers. They were unsubscribed from the channel unbeknownst to them. So go back in. Some of you who are not receiving notifications, a lot of my subscribers are reaching out to me. I didn't know. They had been unsubscribed from the channel. So you need to click on subscribe and make sure you click on all so you get all notifications. Okay, Snowflakes. Okay, and make sure, Snowflakes, make sure that it is on all notifications, dear. That's happening to more people than I wish to count, okay? And so, I like I said, I don't know until you guys let me know what's going on. I had subscribers telling me that. They told me my channel was shadow banned. They don't want the information to get out. Snowflakes, I need for you and the other people who are on True Social to share my channel, share these streams out so we can bring more people. The more people we have, they'll stop with the shadow banding stuff. Fridge, same problem here. Each browser, I must check and enable notifications for YouTube. Fridge, make sure you are signed into your Gmail. If you're signed into your Gmail, maybe that will stop. Rich, the Black population needs to get educated on the financial system. Rich Buddy, check out, I did a video yesterday, not just the financial system, Rich Buddy, but also how I did a video yesterday, how the Black elites are used to keep other Black Americans in line and to keep them on the dependent Democratic plantation. That's what they're used. So the celebrities, the professional athletes, the Al Sharptons of the world, the Congressional Black Caucus, the NAACP, all of these are used to keep us in line on the dependent Democratic plantation. So yeah, DJ, how long do you let a traitor stay in your house after you see this with your own eye? DJ, I say kick them out immediately. Isaiah, I did not get Mr. John Joyner's email address. Okay, Isaiah, yes, I'll have to reach out. He'll be on later, so I'll ask him if it's okay to, I'll tell him to drop it in the comment section. Snowflake says, why just Black population? I need to know how to get right. Our public service. Yeah, everyone needs to be educated about the financial system so they can improve their lot. Right, Snowflakes? Let's include everyone. Rich Buddy, I forgot the name of the Freemason Blacks. There's a specific name for them. Okay. Andrew, Red Eye Radio, never does shows on weekends, but last night did a live. Okay. Yeah. So, Andrew, did you share this on True Social, dear? So, folks, don't be alarmed and don't be dismayed. I told you this did not shock me because Andrew, I think it was you a few shows ago that said that they may try. It was you or Cha-Cha, I'm not sure, or Florida, who were, thinking that they were going to try to do something. They know if they don't stop Trump, they know doggone well, as old people used to say, they know that Biden's not going to beat Trump. Come on. Why do you think they're going through all this trouble? Why do you think they're, all these charges and all, he's in and out of court? They're trying anything that they can. They know Biden's not going to win. The only person saying that Biden's going to win is Biden. And we know he is definitely delusional. He's not going to win. And the Democrats are infighting. They have their own little civil war going on. That's who they chose. That's what they get. They thought that they could just whisk him under the rug, say, okay, you need to step down. And he would be like, okay, he's not. He's not. And I love it. That's who they chose. So deal with it. Deal with your choice. Choices you made. Okay. And Jill, it saddens me to say, as an educator, because I'm an educator, and what she's doing, she needs to have some charges. It's elder abuse, guys. You know it just like I do. And so where are we here? Liberal. Yeah. Okay. I didn't, Andrew, I can't, your comment, I don't know what you're saying, so you're gonna have to type it again. So just keep that in mind, folks. They will stop at nothing. They do not want to relinquish power. Just know, when Biden loses, Nancy Pelosi, all of these people are gonna be out of a job. Maxine Waters and all these other people. They're thinking about their pockets. They're not thinking about their constituents who voted for them to be there. Think of all the people who are going to lose their jobs. KGP, all these people. They don't want to lose their jobs. Look at all the pundits at CNN, MSDNC. They're as bad as the Clinton News Network. You know that. We should call JAG and demand the traitor be detained. Okay. Rich, once in trial, my Freemason black attorney told me a jury will side with you no matter what. He wore it. Someone on the opposition was a Mason and called my lawyer to toss me. Okay. DJ, let's see what you're saying here. There will be a recount. Does not matter who wins. There will be a recount. Okay. I went to jail because he wore the Mason ring. Okay, Rich. Any status on the two women? No, I'm gonna have that. We're gonna be keeping up with updates when Mr. Joyner comes on later. I'll be trying to update you guys about what's going on. It's sad. The guy who died, he died because he jumped on top of his family trying to protect them. So he's definitely a hero. You don't see a lot of that going on now these days. People are always trying to just protect themselves. So he's a hero. And so, Andrew, we'll be talking about that when I come on later with Mr. Joyner. And again, he has his own theory about who's really behind this. So we're going to let him come on. And those of you who've been here on the channel, you already know how Mr. Joyner handles business. Okay. And he's not afraid to tell you what he thinks. Okay. Anyone else? Snowflakes, are you still here? I'm trying to respond to all of your questions. If I missed your question, just type it over. I do not mind addressing it. We know this is an ongoing investigation. So some things I may not be able to answer until I receive further clarification. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay. It's still ongoing. They're still investigating. Okay, Rich. And so that's just where we are with that. And don't forget, some of you who've never been here, Rich Buddy, I think you're new to the channel. Everyone who's here, please go ahead and make sure you hit that little thumb. That is the like button. Now, for you to like the video, you have to be signed into your Gmail. If you're not signed into the Gmail, you can't like, you can't subscribe. So if you like this content, hit the like button, share this stream out on your various forms of social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, Truth Social. Okay. That's what we have to do. And so again, folks, we can't hold our heads down. We have to fight, right? We have to continue to express our disdain for this current administration and what they've done to Americans and how they have destroyed this country. So again, this is just the beginning. They're not done. You know, and how convenient. Okay, Secret Service sniper killed the shooter. Okay, so how you doing, Combat Medic? All right, blessings to you too, dear. I love your profile picture. I'm going to send these. I'm going to spam the comment section. This is for Combat Medic. Okay, there you go. Okay, Rich said he's a registered Republican, but he voted for Obama the second time. Okay, Combat Medic, what do you think about all of these latest incidences that are going on here? What do you think about this attempted assassination and everything else that's going on in reference to, politics as we head towards the November election? What do you think about this? DJ, does anyone know if anyone is making arrangements for a recount? The building, the cameras, the security, the people to count, everyone vetted and photo. Yeah, they're investigating, DJ. So we'll have to see where this goes. And again, we just have to go with what they tell us, Unfortunately, when you can't, interview and investigate, if the shooter is killed, there's so much. I mean, they're looking, of course, at all his social media and everything, talking to family and friends. But when you can't actually talk to the person who was responsible for the shooting, that's the last piece of the puzzle that you don't have access to. Okay. And so DJ, it's ongoing, dear. It's ongoing. But all of you who are here, please, please, please make sure that you are here at 4:00 p.m. so that you can hear. DJ. Oh, okay. Yes, DJ, we're definitely going to have to do that. Yes. Make sure you're here at 4:00 p.m. so that you can hear what Mr. Joyner has to say. Okay. And if you like this content, and those of you, I've actually spoken to you guys that are here, Ruby from Joyland, I spoke with her on the telephone yesterday. Any of you who are interested in coming on the show, being a guest to share your views, reach out to me via email, and we can make that happen. Ruby from Joyland, like I said, we talked, and we're trying to get together a program where she comes on the show. She's going to talk about her Brexit from the Democratic Party, why she did it, how long. I mean, so these are all very interesting stories that people need to hear, because you have some people who are on the fence trying to decide what they're going to do. And when they hear stories like that, sometimes some people just need a little encouragement. And sometimes they hear, someone else's story and they're like, wow, they did it. I can do it too. Okay. And so that's just where we are. And I'm not going to keep you for a long period of time, since I will be live at 4:00. So I just wanted to come on here because with all these latest developments, I don't know who Cousin T is, Andrew. DJ said, what if the Dems have already rented venues and they're quietly getting ready? DJ, who knows what they're crooked and they're evil. Who knows what they're doing? Rich Buddy said, I like small channels. I just sub. Thanks for the content. Oh, Rich. Yeah, glad to have you, Rich. I'm live every Sunday at 4:00 and sometimes 2 or 3 times through the week. Jax, the My Pillow guy has a link to what they are doing to secure elections and clean voter rolls. Okay, yeah, the My Pillow guy. Yeah, he's staunch Republican. I see his commercials everywhere. Yeah. He's a staunch conservative. Okay, Rich Buddy is okay, you're addressing Jax. Okay, yeah, so I'll let you guys go if you don't have any other questions. Try to keep you updated. Of course, Mr. Joyner will be talking about these recent developments, and all we can do, guys, is stay vigilant and excuse me. Just try to go to some reputable news sources. So not the lamestream media, Clinton News Network, MS, DNC, no. So let's, if you're like me, a lot of you have stated that you, hey, Fridge, okay. Yeah, a lot of you stated that you actually have news sources that you watch here on YouTube. So that's great. All right. Jack said there are two of us, but I do visit a lot of live chat. Jax, we're glad to have you here. If you like this content, dear, go ahead and sub up. Glad to have you here. If you have family and friends also who are interested, bring them on over. We take everyone here. Okay. Andrew, well, that's who they came live, and when I tried to show Fox, it wouldn't let me show it. So I just, hey, sometimes we have to use what we have to use. We take it at face value and then we go and do our own little research and find out. How you doing? Okay, Douglas is back. One party is closer to God, country, and Constitution, and it's not the BLM, Antifa, Hamas, Democratic Party. Douglas, how are you doing? So glad that you're here. And you are absolutely right. Douglas, you weren't here yesterday. I did 3 or 4 videos. Please check those out, dear. From talking to you from last Sunday, I know that you'll be very pleased with the content. And don't forget, Douglas, I have a guest speaker today. Yeah, Douglas. Oh, wow. Douglas, I don't know. You've been on the channel a few weeks, but we've been talking about, how desperate the Democrats are, and that they will stop at nothing to retain power. Douglas, yes, at 4:00, I have Mr. John Joyner. He's going to come and give us our thoughts on who he really thinks is behind this assassination attempt of Donald Trump. And let's see, Jack says, yeah, he's going to talk about that. We'll do the Project 2025 hoax another time, but we will do it. Jack says, I enjoy your channel, but like everybody else, I was not getting. Jax, check to make sure you are subscribed. Thank you, Suave. Thank you for the super chat. A lot of people were unsubscribed from the channel. Now, for you to hit the like button, for you to subscribe to the channel, you have to be signed into your Gmail. A lot of people don't understand that. If you're not signed into your Gmail on your tablet, on your phone, it won't let you hit the like button. It won't let you subscribe. But several people have been unsubscribed. They were reaching out to me, and I said, well, that's YouTube. That's not me. So you just have to sign into your Gmail and then subscribe. Make sure you click on all so that you receive all notifications, if that makes sense. Yeah, Douglas, I'm glad you really know you're on top of your stuff. And you have so many people that go to church on Sundays and then they support the Democrats, and that they don't support anything that's close to God. And so I don't get that that train of thought, that process of thought. But okay. Yeah, I know, Andrew. Biden is going to give a press conference shortly. So we'll see how this goes. And all we can do, folks, is be vigilant. And Douglas, thank you for returning to the channel. Let me know what you think about the videos that I did on Saturday. I won't keep you guys long since you will be back here. You said at 4:00, and I know you have things to do. Oh, Sherry, how are you? Good afternoon. Good broadcasting channel to watch is News. Yeah, I watch Newsmax and Right Side Broadcasting. Yeah, Sherry, I just found out. Thank you so much, Douglas. I just found out about the Right Side Broadcasting Network yesterday because, Sherry, we were live. I was doing a live yesterday, and I think it was Florida came on and said there's been a shooting at Trump's rally. And we were like, what? Because we were live. And I kept trying to pull it up, but I couldn't find it until I almost got off. It was just about time for me to get off. And then I came back on once I started gathering information about the shooting. But yeah, I watch Newsmax. I do. And so I thank you all so much for being here. So Sherry, we're going to be live again today at 4:00. I have a guest speaker, Mr. John Joyner, is going to give us his opinion on who is really responsible for this attempted assassination. And if you haven't, Cherie and Douglas, if you haven't been here, I think you guys are new to the channel. You need to check out some of my other interviews with Mr. Joyner. He's a straight shooter, and he tells you what's really going on. He's retired correctional officer. I think he retired from, was it Attica? Sing Sing? One of those tough prisons. Okay, so he's a tough guy. He's a straight shooter, and he's very transparent. He tells you what is really going on. Yeah, Cherie, check out. I did about 3 videos yesterday, Cherie. Check those out. You guys know when you leave comments, I normally respond, except for the videos that go to, videos to get 15, 16,000, 100,000. I may miss your comment, but it's just there's thousands of comments and I may miss it. But on the videos that don't get as many views, you leave a comment, I will definitely respond to that. Thank you so much, Sherry. And those of you who are new here, I go live every Sunday at 4:00 p.m. And again, sometimes I'll try to do 2 or 3 videos through the week. Oh, you saw them. Shit. Thank you so much, love. Oh, hey, I'm preaching to the choir. You've already seen them. Cherie and the rest of you, Rich Buddy, Douglas, if you have Truth Social, share these videos out on Truth Social. And we can bring a lot of people over to the channel. Okay. And that's what we're trying to do. We are trying to prepare for November. We have got to get those Democrats out of the White House. And now there is some, I got to share this with you. I meant to do a video on it and I just didn't have time. What's the guy from New York who lost his seat? Jamal something. So, and in his district, he was out there talking to the people in his urban lingo, thinking that was going to draw them in. So people are waking up. Like my video from yesterday, one of them, Kamala Harris. Oh yeah, I'm in these streets. Listen to the when you're watching these videos and their interviews, listen to the lingo that they're using. They don't use that with any other demographic except an urban demographic to make it seem as though I'm just like you. And that couldn't be further from the truth. They are not like you. They do not care for you. They only care about power. Those of you who've been here on the channel for a while, you've heard me say it, and I mean it. Democrats don't do anything for Americans. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. They do for non-Americans, like say illegal immigrants. So this is what I say to you. If I were a Democrat, I would say that's who you need to go and get votes from. You get nothing from me if I were a Democrat. So why people continue to listen to their lies, I just don't know. Rich Buddy, I had RSBN on live in the background while I was playing. I happened to didn't realize something was wrong until I heard that lady scream. Yeah, it was like a blood-curdling scream. It's probably surreal. And when something happens out of the ordinary and you just you just lose it. Okay. All right. Well, I will let you all go so that you can do whatever you need to do before 4:00. Share out the live stream on your various forms of social media. Let's bring some more people into the conversation. All right. I will end this live stream, and like I always do, I'll continue to respond to your comments as long as you're there. All right. So see you guys at 4:00. And if there are more updates that I think are pertinent and you just can't wait to hear them, I'll come on before then. Okay. But Mr. Joyner will be here today at 4:00 p.m. Thank you so much again for visiting the Roland's Reviews YouTube channel.